up your brown book, baby. It's for you, it's for us. The fantasies, no one can judge us, no one can judge us. This is for us. Open up your brown book, baby. It's for you.
Hey y'all, hey, it's your girl Shay Baby from the Brown Book series, and I'm coming at you with another one. You know, this young lady here, she is so sweet. I met her a couple of years at KissCon. We was in the hallway, and we was like, hey girl, hey, what's up? And I was like, yo, when I get this thing up and running, I most definitely are coming to talk to you. And you know, her and her pure Rhode Island fashion was like, okay, girl, just holler at me and let's do it. So, Brown Book series, before we get started, please remember to like and share, subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on all our social media platforms, and also just go to our website, brownbookseries.com, to find out everything that's going on with us. And we got a lot going on. So now, the young lady I'm bringing to the stage right now, she is an award-winning New York Times, USA Today's best-selling everything. Like, she got everything going. Listen, she got so many awards that I can't even keep up. But she'll tell us all about it. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome New York Times, Washington Post, and USA Today's best-selling author, Miss Sarah MacLean.
Hi. Thanks for having me, Shay.
Thank you.
It's so nice to see your face again.
I know, girl. How you doing?
I mean, there was a pandemic,
a whole pandemic, like
a whole. I mean, most of a pandemic. I'm hoping. No, I was trying to think as you were doing that intro. I was trying to think. Was it Kiss? It must have been KissCon 2019 when we met.
Yeah, we was in Chicago.
Yeah, they're always in Chicago.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Yeah, look in that hallway, out like with that big bank of windows. So
it had one of them years, girl. We was all up in there. It was wonderful, and you know it's so crazy because we always talk about like first impressions. You know, because it's like, okay, when you meet someone the first time, you really don't know how they're gonna be. Because I'm just saying, you know, you're so humble and that's beautiful, but girl, you're an award-winning author. Like, let's just be honest. You know, you could have been like, okay, girl. But no, you was like, hey, you tall like me. Like, you know.
Well, I mean, I'm biased towards people who are as tall like me. I feel more comfortable with talls.
Yeah.
I gravitate toward talls.
Yes. And we did. It was wonderful. Absolutely. So, Sarah, tell us a little bit about you. Like, girl, tell us about you. How did you, we'll get to how you started in this game, but just your background, where you're from, what you do, all that good stuff.
I am Sarah MacLean, and I'm a lifelong romance reader. And then I got a chance to be a romance writer, and that is pretty great. So I write historical romances, although almost entirely historical romances. I wrote a YA romance to start. I just this last year wrote a contemporary romance. So, but it's always books with kissing in them. I'm a podcaster. I have a podcast called Fated Mates where we talk about romance novels every Wednesday. And sometimes I write columns about romance. And basically, if you meet me in the world, we're probably going to talk about romance novels. So
I think
here we are.
Yeah, that's what it was. I'm like, yo, she's a real romance chick. Now, how did you start writing though? And then when you started out writing, did you just automatically think, you know what? I'm just gonna go romance. I ain't even gonna look at another genre.
Oh, I didn't. Yeah, I mean, there was no question. There was gonna be kissing in my books. I mean, for sure. That was how that was gonna go.
Oh my God, look at her. Okay, so how did you know you wanted to be a writer?
That's a good question. I mean, like I said, I think of it took me a long time to get to a place where I was like, oh, I'm a writer. Like, that's my job.
Right.
Because I started reading romance novels when I was like 10.
Hold on.
So for me,
hold on.
I know.
10.
Know.
Who gave you a romance novel? Girl.
My sister is 10 years older than me. And she was also, a lot of people have this story. I mean, how did you come to romance? Who gave you your first romance?
Who gave me my first romance? Ooh, an ex-boyfriend.
What? Really?
And
That's
you
a
know
great
what?
story.
Which is crazy because I was like, how old was I? I think I was like 16.
Yeah, young.
I was like
Oh.
16, and he was reading it. Yeah, he had it. I think he picked me up from school or something dumb, and I was like, "You here? What is this?" He's like, "It's my mom's book." And
You
that's
sure it was.
It was undeniable. Yeah, right, sure it was right. It was undeniable by Francis Ray.
And there you go. You were hooked forever.
I was done. I was like, yo, it's
give me all of them, everyone.
Yeah.
That's how I felt. My sister was a romance reader. My sister was 10 years older than me, and she had subscribed. Back in the day, there was like Harlequin had these book boxes, and you would subscribe, and every month you'd get the like 5 Harlequin desires or 5 Harlequin presents, like whatever the line was that you loved from Harlequin. And my sister was a Harlequin Desire subscriber. And so those books came in every month, and they usually come with like a commemorative plate, like some kind of crazy thing would like be part of it. So my sister was a Harlequin subscriber, but she was a voracious romance reader. Like all of us end up being, if you become a kind of real deal romance reader, like you're reading 10 books a month, 12 books a month. And she was that person. And so, and we shared a room, but she was 10 years older than me, and she was at college. And I discovered that under her bed, she just had boxes and boxes of these romance novels. And I was a really big reader, and I pulled out what was my first romance, which was Jude Devereux's The Black Lion, which is a very old school, very problematic historical that I still like hold close to my heart, even though now I'm like, ooh. And that was it. I mean, I was hooked. And then my middle school was next door to the public library, and that was it. I mean, I wanted to read every single book that had a clinch on the cover. Like that was it.
And so.
And then I read them. I mean, that was my recreational reading. I never read anything else. Like there was just I didn't have any interest in anything that didn't have a happily ever after. So when I got to the point where there's an opportunity, like where I was thinking about writing something, and I wrote my first book on a dare, which, I live currently and work currently in New York City. And when I moved here after college, I made a bunch of friends in publishing, and we were all out to dinner one night, and we were talking about some book, which I can no longer remember. And I was like, I feel like I could have written it better. And my closest friend was like, I dare you to go home and write a better book than that. And I had just enough alcohol to think that was a good idea. And I went home and I wrote the first chapter of The Season, which is my first book and a YA romance. But then after that, I was like, nope, I'm going to put YA away and just write, like, I want to write adult romance so that I can write sex. I mean, really, I wanted to write the full scope of romance novels. So that's where I moved to.
I've read your books, honey. And yes, you write the full scope, honey. I was like, okay, I'm here for like you. Remind me of Spartacus. One of my favorite shows. I was like, ooh, I like this. So now we know you got a dirty mind. You want them to be kissing and stuff, which I'm here for. We got a kindred spirit. This is beautiful. Why did you choose historical?
I think that it starts with, I think you gravitate toward the genre that you really like found romance with. Mm-hmm. So for me, I found romance in that kind of what was a real heyday of historicals. It was the early 90s. I found a kind of older historical first. Like I read those early Jude Devereux's and Judith McNaughts, but that was when Lisa Kleypas was writing, like Derek Craven and her like big Victorian series, and Beverly Jenkins had just started writing. Like Indigo came out in 1993, and so I was reading the kind of the greats of the early 90s, and the greats of the early 90s were largely historical writers. And that's what I fell in love with. And then so I think I've always had a real love for historical. And then when I got to writing it, it was sort of natural that I write a historical, but also I think historicals give you an opportunity to really write the world that we live in and shine lights on very like specific areas of the world that we live in today, 2021, by virtue of putting them in a world that doesn't have as much noise.
That makes sense. Well, like, was it hard though? Because girl, historicals, let me tell you something. Y'all got the research is, I couldn't do it. Period. I'd be like, it's like a whole history lesson. You know what I'm saying? So like, how difficult was that? I mean, are you a research buff anyway? I mean, did you already know about a lot of history stuff, or?
Well, here's the thing. When you read historicals, you input a lot of that history. I mean, I started reading them when I was very young, as you know, and like I definitely inputted a lot of history by virtue of like romance novels taught me a lot of things, and that's something we don't talk about a lot. But I feel like romance novels teach us. My vocabulary when I was 16 was so amazing because I had read all these words in these books. I was crazy about these books, and they had these wild like big vocabularies, and I can remember like thinking about the words that I didn't know in romance novels. And I'm sure this is true for people who read thrillers or mysteries or whatever. It's not special to romance, but I think like we disdain the genre so much that we forget that like it helps. It's a amazing when you read this much, it's good for you. And then on top of it, the history. I mean, certainly there are some writers who do history, you know, remarkably well, and there are others who kind of use it as wallpaper.
Right.
The research itself is really fun for me. So if I'm like, I usually back into the research though. What I have found in a decade of writing historicals is there is no idea that I can come up with on my own that I can't find somewhere in history as being at least the seed of it, you know? So for example, right now I'm writing a series called Hell's Bells, which is about a girl gang in Victorian London. And sure enough, there was a girl gang in Victorian London. It was called the 40 Elephants, and they were a gang of like absolutely crackerjack shoplifters.
What?
So they had like specially designed dresses with like deep pockets where they could fit hats and like coats and jewelry in all their pockets.
Girl, you so they would roosters.
I'm not writing about shoplifters, but
you're just relaying history. You're just talking about history.
But like, this is the cool thing is whatever you come up with, like my girls don't shoplift, but they do other stuff. And now they all have these like, and so as part of the conceit of the series, like there's a dressmaker who knows how to build dresses that have like pockets and compartments that are useful for storing things, right? Which are useful when you're in a heist of some kind.
Yes.
So it's really cool. It's just, history has it all. It's all there. Nothing is new.
That would make a great movie, Sarah.
Tell your friends.
Okay. Who I didn't tell, girl? We need to
call your friends at HBO, Shay.
Right. I'm telling you, this will make a great movie. That whole concept is like, oh, historicals, you know, era meets what's that? Ocean's 11 kind of.
Yeah, like Ocean's 8.
Yes.
Yeah.
You write it up. I'm gonna send it to my people and be like, can y'all put this in the movie? Because that was that. I really love that. Now, speaking of movies and speaking of books, Sarah, we have a couple of segments that we do here at the Brown Book Series. And one of the segments is called Name That Book. Well, we take either a something from one of your books, a character or a passage. We'll read a passage.
Oh my God, you're testing me on my book.
Yes, Sarah, on your book, girl.
I'm gonna do really badly on this.
No,
But
you
okay.
don't do good. I didn't make it that hard.
All right. Okay.
Yeah, so I'll give you the clue, and you just have to name that book. All
Okay.
right. All right. So this character, name that book. Simon Pearson.
Oh, that one I know. It's the hero of 11 Scandals to Start to Win a Duke's Heart.
Yes, and
He's
girl,
very crusty.
very,
He's very stiff and like buttoned up.
very. And I was like, okay, 11 scandals, and girl, the scandals was, girl, they were scandalous. Okay, name that book. Okay, here's the passage. Well, here's something that happened in the book. The Earl of Blackmore's father is mysteriously killed in a riding accident.
That's the season. That's the YA novel.
Yes, it was like the season.
That's the plot of the season.
That's the plot.
The inciting incident of the season. Yes, that's a YA novel. That's a kinder, gentler book for the young people in your life.
It was sweet. You know, she was helping him get over his father's death. I was like, oh, but the mystery of it all, though, I was like, who killed the man, honey? It was, anyway. All right, so name that book. Now, this is a passage, okay? The incessant pounding woke him. He ignored it at first. Sleep clouding the source of the irritating noise. Name that book.
Is it 9 Rules? The 9 Rules to Break? It's the beginning of 9 Rules to Break. He's in bed with his mistress, which now I'm not sure I would write, but he is. It's true.
Why you wouldn't write it?
I don't know. I mean, now I'm sort of like, why is he in bed with his mistress?
Girl, honey, I was here for it. Because, girl, when the brother came in, honey, she slipped down and showed him a little something. I was like,
she's like, you could join us, right? Doesn't she say that? I don't know. That was young Sarah. She's bolder.
She's like, you can
twin brothers. What?
Girl, yes. Let me tell you something, Sarah.
Yes.
Listen, I was here for it. I was like, is he gonna go over there? What is she doing? What's Sarah gonna do? I thought it was gonna be a twin menage going on. Whew.
Well, you can write your fic.
Yeah. All right. Last one. Name that book. You're gonna get this one. You're doing great, girl. You're doing great.
I'm doing great. I'm so impressed with myself.
Yes, you are. All right, name that book. This time, the angels were soldiers, come to punish and not save.
I know who thinks it. I just don't know what book it's in. But I'm gonna go with Daring and the Duke.
Listen, I'm up here like that's your latest release. Yay! I need you to get it together over there. Full blown guess, Sarah. Okay, Sarah.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about your latest release because you have another coming up in August, so we'll talk about that later on. But this one right here, Daring and the Duke.
Yes, Daring and the Duke.
Yes. Tell us a little bit about it.
So it's the final book in the Bareknuckle Bastards series, which is a series. It's a 3-book series focused on a family of half brothers who are all bastard. Sorry, Shay.
It's okay.
Hey, my dog is making noise.
I just put mine around. Don't close the door.
Sorry. So it's 3 brothers who are all bastard sons of a duke. And he is a terrible, terrible old man who is desperate for an heir. And so he brings them all to a kind of Hunger Games style child. Like he makes them compete for the dukedom. And so each book follows one of these 3 boys. But the 3rd book is about the character who actually wins the dukedom when they are children and becomes the heir to the dukedom and then the duke. But he's a villain for the first 2 books in the series. And he is wildly in love with a girl who he knew when they were children and when he was a good person. And so the book itself is very, for those of you who are are romance readers who like morality chain romance, which is, you know, when a villain is kind of pulled to goodness through love. I think this is a book for you. It's definitely a flat out villain turned hero story. If you've read the earlier 2 books, you've seen that he's done really terrible things. And so he has to be punished, and he is punished by the heroine, who has become a kind of queen of London underworld. Her name is Grace, and she runs a ladies' pleasure club, and she has a network of spies in London that can kind of get her any information and get her she's immense power. She's built this kind of network of information and power. And then on top of it, she has a pleasure club where she hosts these like amazing pleasure parties. And she's also a bare knuckle fighter. And so, you know, it's very much about, the whole series is about family, and it's about a family of people who have to come to terms with the past and find forgiveness, and they have to be sort of reborn into this new world where things are better and they are newly made. And in his case, in Ewan's case, the hero of this book, he is remade by love, and it's love that is incredibly difficult to get for him. Like he has to literally break himself down and rebuild himself to be worthy of her, which is what I love. I mean, I want all heroes to break themselves down and then rebuild themselves to be worthy of the heroine. That's what I want.
You know what? But his whole emotions, everything that he went through, for me, actually made the book. Because it was just like
I'm glad.
Yeah, I was just like, oh my God. I was rooting for him I was just like, you know.
I know. Well, because you're a romance reader, right? Like, we're so broken, all of us.
I was rooting for him.
We're like, ooh, he killed a person. He's got to be a hero.
You know what? I kept reading about him. I kept thinking about and you know, I love like Charm and Angel and all that.
Yeah.
So it always reminded me of Cole for some strange reason. You know, Cole being
sure.
So I was like, oh, I was rooting for him.
Baby.
Poor baby.
I mean, this is the thing. What's amazing is like, he's really a bad dude. Like, he does bad stuff on the page. Yeah. And then when I sort of came, and I knew that he was going to be the book ultimately, but that's a hard thing to do as a writer, to sort of say like, I'm going to take this villain and make him a hero. You have to sort of trust that the readers will come with you. But he was a tough ship to turn.
Girl, I came with you, honey. Let me tell you.
I'm really glad. Thank you so much. My next book was not like this. It will not be difficult for you to get on board with my next hero. So.
Oh my God, yes, I was coming with you. And speaking of coming with you, it leads us to another segment here at the Brown Book Series called Dirty Minds.
Oh boy.
Yes, where I'm going to give you a couple of clues, dirty clues, Sarah, but you got to give me the clean answer.
Okay.
I'm going to try. And this is the new segment too, so we're gonna try the new segment out on Sarah, y'all.
Oh, nobody's done it?
No.
Right. Here we go. Let's do it. I'm ready.
All right, I'm gonna give you the clues and you let me know what it is. All right, you ready? It's 3 clues. First one, I have a stiff shaft. My tip penetrates. I come with a quiver. What am I?
I don't know. I can only think of the dirty stuff. My tip penetrates. Wait, it's the tip penetrates that's the problem, because I thought it was going to be like a pencil or something.
My tip
penetrates.
I come
with a quiver. Oh, is it an arrow?
It's an arrow.
Oh, yay! Quiver. I had to like leave aside my tip penetrates. Okay.
Okay.
This is a fun game.
Okay. Next clue. This one's gonna be easy. I sometimes get balls caught in my throat. My box smells. I can have a little pussy.
I don't like any of this.
What
I sometimes get balls caught in my throat.
Yes.
What is it? My box smells?
Yes.
Is it a cat?
It's a cat.
Okay. Like a real cat.
A real cat. Yeah.
Okay.
Woo. Okay. All right. You ready?
Yes, I'm ready. Lay it on me. I'm good.
This one's kind of cruel, but I'm gonna say it anyway. But it's okay.
All right.
Over 1,000 people went down on me. I wasn't a maiden for long. A big hard thing ripped me open.
Is it the Titanic? Too soon, Shay. Too soon. Over 1,000 people went down on me.
Girl, I was like, that's a little
Shay, these are great.
I know, right?
These are great.
You ready?
Mm-hmm.
All right. I'm a handy form of protection. I'm moist after you're done with me. If you hold me erect, I won't drip on you. You're great at this, Sarah.
I'm not, because this. Wait, repeat that. I'm a handy form of protection.
Yes. I'm moist after you're done with me. If you hold me erect, I won't drip on you. Yeah, I can see your whole mind went somewhere else. The clean version. Clean, Sarah.
I don't know. I'm moist when you're done with me. If you hold me erect, I don't know.
Umbrella.
An umbrella. That's a good one. I should have gotten that.
An umbrella.
That is really fun. Please do this with everyone.
Okay. All right. 2 more.
All right. Oh, good. Yay.
2 more. All right. I get stuck with a piece of meat between the buns. When I get old, I get limp. You're never satisfied with the little head. I'm going to get
stuck with a piece of meat between the buns.
Mm-hmm.
When I get old, I get limp.
Yep. And you're never satisfied with the little head.
Never satisfied. Oh my God.
I'm going to get canceled before I start.
No, this is amazing. And I want to say it's a pickle, but I don't think that's right. It's the head one that's really throwing me off.
Yeah, head throws you off sometimes. Just saying.
I don't know. I'm getting bad at them.
Lettuce,
of course. When I get old, I get limp. See? Oh my God. All right. I was close with pickle. I feel like I was in the family.
You did. You was close with pickle. Okay. Last one. You're gonna get this.
Last one. I'm ready.
Okay. I go in hard. I come out soft. You blow my wad.
Is it chewing gum?
It's bubble gum.
Yes. Yay! Well, what is that? 4 out of 6.
Well, yeah, you did great. You do not have a dirty mind, Sarah.
I, in fact, do have a dirty mind.
So, we want your real answers after the show. We'll figure out.
Actual dirty answers were absolutely the first thing in my head every time.
Well, you did absolutely great. Okay.
Yes.
Sarah, how long does it take you to write a book?
Oh, I take forever. It takes me about 8 months. Like when I sit down to write, the ideas cook for a long time, for like years.
Oh.
And then when I'm finally ready to go, it takes me about 8 months from start to finish. And what that means is like, it takes me about 6 months to write about 4 months to write the first half. And then it takes me about a month to write the last half. And then the rest of the time is in edits. Like I do a full revision and a big edit. And like, I'm a really slow writer I'm a fast writer compared to everybody outside of romance, and an incredibly slow writer compared to everyone inside of romance. So,
well, I mean, when you say it takes a while to cook, I'm like, that's why it's so good. You know,
well, that's very kind, but there are a lot of people who write great books who write them very fast. And your process, this is my 15th book, and 15 books in, what I have learned is that your process is your process, and you
can't rush it.
You really can't change it as much as every book I do I do a week where I write like 100 pages in a week. And my husband, every book goes like, I don't understand. Like, why don't you just do that for a month, and then be done with it and then write 3 books a year? That's not how it works. Like, it's just not how it works for me.
Right.
So I think that is the hardest lesson for people who want to write, is learning that like you can't look at other people's paper. Right. If that makes sense. Like your process and your journey is your journey.
That's definitely
that is hard. That's hard in life, like outside of writing, like not looking at other people's paper.
Right.
But here, especially because you feel like, well, she's writing faster than me, or like, she's selling more than me, or she's, got a movie deal. Like, and so you end up sort of you spend so much time like benchmarking against other people. And the reality is like your readers want your book from you, and that's all you can do.
And that is true, girl. Cause I was like, I'm cool with it. And you're writing, like I said, your stuff looks like it could be on movies, like a movie screen. So, in due time, girl, we're gonna be looking at you like, oh, I'm gonna be like, I know Sarah. Y'all come on.
Manifest it.
It will. I'm telling you, girl, it will. Now, when you first was published, how hard was it for you to get published? Everybody has a story. Some people like, girl, I walked in, they was like, okay, here's a deal. And some people was like, it took 10 years. I was like, 10 years.
It did not take me 10 years. I published my first book, but it was YA. So like I took my journey to romance is a little bit longer. Mm-hmm. And like definitely you make mistakes along the way. And that's a big piece of it. Like I think everybody has the mistake they made when they were young. Yeah. And they made a deal with the wrong person, or they like did something without an agent or whatever, or they wrote a book in the wrong genre. And I wouldn't say that it was the wrong genre. It wasn't, my first book wasn't a romance novel. It was a YA romance. So I guess it was a romance novel, but just, it wasn't what I ended up really loving.
Yeah, it was your
writing. Yeah. And so, so for me, I wrote it. I was very lucky in that I lived and worked in New York City, and I knew a lot of people in publishing. And so I understood the process right away, which is a huge piece of the puzzle when you have written a book. Like if you don't understand how publishing works, it's a big learning curve to like learn who you have to call, and like who you have to make, the relationships you have to make, and how to pitch an agent and all that sort of stuff. And I didn't have to do all that because I understood the process. And that was really valuable, I think. And so I wrote my first book, and then it was published within 2 years, maybe.
Okay.
And then right after that, it was, and then almost immediately I was writing. I was like, the next project is going to be adult historical. And I wrote the first 150 pages of 9 Rules to Break. Mm-hmm. And HarperCollins, my editor at HarperCollins, asked me to come in and meet with her. And I remember thinking like, oh no, she's going to bring me in and tell me it's terrible. Which now I'm like, that's not a thing. Like, then it really did feel like she was bringing me in to be like, don't ever write another word again.
Oh my God.
And I went in and I met with her and she was like, okay, well, so we want 3. And I was like, but there's 1. Like, I don't have 3. I have this book, this 9 rules book. And she was like, yes, but you also, he has siblings and those are going to be the other 2. And I was like, oh, okay then. So, I mean, I think that's the other piece. Like, we are all a little bit stupid at the beginning. Like, well, you just don't know. You don't know what you don't know. You know?
Wow. That is amazing.
So that's my story. But I too, I'm fascinated by people who wrote for 10 years and then finally published a book, because I feel like I do not have that stamina.
Girl, me either. I've been like, honey, listen, y'all can
find writing isn't for me.
Yeah, I would have had to find something else. I'm like, why do you think it was cute? Now I'm straight.
Yeah. But then you meet people who like wrote for 10 years and then like Meg Cabot is a perfect example. I think she has something like 14 manuscripts under her bed. Yeah. And like, she's Meg Cabot. So like, it's great that she kept going.
Definitely. Because I was like, when I heard that story of her, I'm like, what? Okay, then. Yeah. Sarah, we have another segment here in the Brown Book. We have segments, girl.
I love it. This is so organized. Our podcast is like, what do you want to do next?
You know what? No, before we go to our next segment, because I want to talk about Fated Mates. Yeah, tell us about your podcast. I had to listen to it because you know I love you. And I was like, girl, I gotta listen to our podcast. So tell us a little bit about it.
Yeah. Well, you should come on it, Shay. It would be really fun to have you.
Yeah, girl, let me know when. I'm there.
We would love it. We would love it. So we my friend Jen and I are very big fans of Cressley Cole. I don't know if were you ever a Cressley Cole fan? Are you a paranormal romance fan?
You know what? Let me just be honest. I just got into it like not even a month ago.
Really? Well, you have a whole new world. I came late to paranormal too.
Not even a month. And I got into it because of Suleika Snyder.
Big Bad Wolf.
Yes. And then I read a couple of her books, and then I was like, oh, I like paranormal now. Okay, cool. So
yeah. Well, you got to read Cressley Cole's Immortals After Dark series.
Okay.
Which is 18 books long. Oh, and somebody suggested it to me, and I was like, I don't know, 18 books. It feels like a lot. Like, it feels like it's too much of a commitment for me. And honestly, I read the first one, and then I literally spent the next 2 weeks on my couch, just like the second I was finished, I would just download the next book and like download the next book. It was so good. It is such a great series. And so Jen and I, the other reason why I should read it is because Jen and I were so into this series, and we kind of became friends while fangirling over this series. And we decided we wanted to do a podcast that was an 18-episode podcast about this series. So it would be a read-along of this particular series. And that was the intention, was it was going to be a tight 18 episodes. Each book would be covered in one episode, and that was it. And then, of course, it just became... we wanted to talk about other things. We wanted to talk about tropes that we love. We wanted to do book recommendations for other things. So now the way the structure works, that was season 1. We did the full Immortals After Dark series. And then in between the read along episodes, we do trope episodes where we talk about, for example, like road trip romances, and we talk about how a road trip romance is structured and why people love romance that is set on road trips, and like what itches it scratches when you read a romance novel that's about road trips. And then we just pack up your TBR, we just recommend a ton of books, and then go on from there. So now we're in our 3rd season. So we're just still doing read-alongs of books that we think are interesting, books that the 2nd season was all books that had an impact on us when we were young romance readers. And so we went back to these kind of old romances and reread them with grown-up eyes, which was really interesting. And we have guest hosts who join us and talk about their favorite tropes. And it's really fun. It's just, as you know, it's really fun to just kind of talk about books with people.
Exactly. Now, what time do you guys come on Wednesdays?
The episodes, they drop there. It's a podcast, so it drops at midnight on Wednesdays every week.
Okay.
And you can listen to it on whatever your favorite podcasting platform is. Just search Fated Mates, and there we are.
Okay, cool, girl. We're gonna add that to our list.
When does this go up? Tuesday?
Every Wednesday night, 6:00.
Wednesday night, 6:00. Mm-hmm. So this episode, which will be next week's episode, right, for you?
Yeah.
Today, it is morality chain. Actually, interestingly enough, we're going to be talking about morality chain romances, why they work, why we love them, and recommending a bunch of them. So
that's what's up.
I expect we'll be talking about criminals and mafia romances and other things.
I like the little criminal and mafia romance too. I didn't think I would, but I do. I think I like all kind of romance now.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I spend a lot of time going, I get that this is a little problematic, but like, it's a book.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Yeah.
I'm not out there like dating somebody who's in the mafia. Right. What do you want from me?
Oh my God, I love it. So I definitely gotta check your podcast out. Definitely. Girl.
Please, yeah, that'd be great. And then come on, let's set a date and you should come on and talk about a book that you love.
See, you guys heard it.
You should read that Frances Ray.
Girl, which one? Undeniable? The first
girl? Let's read the first one.
I'm with it.
Let's reread it.
Okay, I'm with it, girl. Let's do it. I'm with it. Hey, look, y'all, I'm gonna be on with Sarah MacLean and Jen. We're gonna be on there talking about Frances Ray. Girl, it's gonna be off the chain. All right, keep my mouth clean so we won't get kicked off. And
I know, it's fine. It's marked explicit. It's fine.
Oh, okay. I need to start marking this as explicit. Okay.
No, it's very clean, this one.
It really was. All right, we're winding down our interview, so let's go into our next segment. It's called Author's Moments. Well, we just ask you a question about maybe a moment in your life, and you just give us the honest opinion. Well, your honest answer. I mean, not honest enough to where you don't get arrested and stuff like that. But you know,
sure.
Just honest. I'll make it real. Okay, Author's Moments. In being a novelist, what did you learn a little too late?
Well, I like to think that I'm still not too late. Like, I like to think that I can still learn and like it'll be okay. But I think I already said it. I think that you have to learn to trust your own process. Mm-hmm. And I spent many years thinking like I wasn't writing fast enough. Like I wasn't writing the right thing. Like there was a period, I've been writing for 12 years now. And there have been dips, there are ebbs and flows in the world of writing where, historicals weren't very popular for a long time. And now they're on the rise again. And so you sort of have these moments where you second guess your work, or you second guess your craft, or you second guess yourself and like your choices. And the truth is like your journey is yours, right? And it's the only journey that you have. So right. I think I learned later than I would have liked to enjoy that journey and trust that that's the right journey for me.
Good. Well, let you learn it now. And you got like
exactly
100 more books to write, so you're good. All right, Author's Moments. What are you most grateful for right now in this moment?
I think readers. I think the fact that people keep coming to it and like that people trust, that readers trust.
I'm sorry. This was a serious moment. You said
keep coming. People keep coming.
Coming to your book. Okay. Shay, focus.
I think the thing I am most grateful for is that readers still trust me, because I'm a writer who every book of mine is pretty different than every other book of mine. Mm-hmm. And so there are going to be, when you're that kind of writer, there are going to be books that work really well for readers and books that readers don't care for as much. And that's just the way it is.
Right.
And, but I think that I'm really grateful now that I'm known enough by my readers for them to trust me enough that they'll try something that maybe they didn't think they would love. And also if they didn't love it, if they don't love it, they'll come back next time and try the next one. And that's, I mean, readers are everything, right? I mean, we're nothing. We are literally, our careers are nothing without people who are reading the books. And I think it's important for writers always to have a moment of gratitude for readers as much as possible, especially this year, like writing during a pandemic, like the life, I don't think readers understand quite the lifeline that you all are during a pandemic, because we're just alone in our room. Like, we have no feedback. We're not seeing people. We're not engaging with other writers. We're not, like, it's so hard. But every time I get on a Zoom and there are 20 people in the room or 40 people in the room, or just one person who wants to talk to you about your books, like, it really makes you feel like there's an outside world.
No,
and that's valuable this year.
Yeah, definitely that. And we love you. On this outside world, we love you, girl.
Thank you. Thank you.
Moments. If you could have tea with one fictional character of yours, who would it be?
Of mine.
Yeah. Of yours.
I think it would be, actually, I think it would be Grace, the heroine of Daring and the Duke, because she's pretty badass.
Right.
She probably wouldn't have time for me to have tea with me, but if she could make time for me, like, she has these great parties, and she like has this cool life, and she has this community of people who just adore her, and I want to hang out with her. Like, that would be fun to spend an afternoon with her. I think that's my pick.
You know, Grace. Okay, cool. All right. Let's see. If you could sit down with your 15-year-old self, what would you tell her?
I think I would tell her that it's all going to work out. That, like, it feels like when I was 15, I was sure, like, I didn't have any talent. I didn't have any skills. I was, I wasn't going to be special in any way. And of course, every 15-year-old is special.
Right.
But I think I would tell her, I would be like, it's all going to be fine. Like, you're going to get the life that you are dreaming of, really. I mean, I wanted to be a romance novelist when I was 15. So I don't know, maybe I wouldn't tell her that. If she knew that, would I be here? I don't know. This is too hard. I would tell her not to wear so much plaid, though. You look great in plaid. But I did not look good in plaid. I was very, like, dumpy and, like, basically just went full grunge for, like, many years. And I should not have done that. That was a mistake.
God.
I didn't have that plaid. I had, like, that, like, LL Bean, like, really, like, green, like, maybe if I'd had that would be good.
Okay, I'm just telling you, sometimes it's plaid, though. You throw a solid color on with it, and you're great.
See, I was a mess.
You needed me back then. You needed me. I'm here for you.
Exactly.
You're good now, though. So you Okay, Sarah. Dead or alive? If you were hosting a dinner party and could invite 5 people from any era, who would it be?
5 people.
Real people, not fictional.
Real people. 5 real people from any
era.
era.
Batman, Superman, none of them.
No. Okay. All right. I would invite.
Thor was
fine. Would I invite? All right. I would invite. What's her name? I would invite Alice. I'm going to tell you. I'm going to cheat because I have her name right in front of me. I would invite Alice Diamond, who was the head of the 40 Elephant Gang that I told you about.
Okay. You said Alice Diamond. That sounds like a porn star. Okay.
Her name is Alice Diamond. She also went by Diamond Annie, and Agnes Ross. Those were her 3 names. She had aliases. Okay, then, girl. Yeah. And I would ask her to show me all her weird pockets in her skirts.
I'll come to that party. I want to see it.
Thank you. I would. Who else? Okay, let me think. Yeah, this is hard.
Sarah's like, let's go back to the Dirty Mind game.
I know. Well, this is hard. This is a lot. This is tough. Okay. So Alice Diamond. And then I would pick, okay, I can do this.
Yes, you can do it.
I would, okay. Okay. Okay, living. I would want to talk. I would want. Oh wait. Okay, all right. I would invite Bell Hooks because feminism and I would love to sit her down and just like mine her for like brilliant thoughts.
That's good.
I would invite. I would invite who else? Okay, so wait, Alice, Belle. Now they're my friends.
Yeah.
I would invite. My favorite poet, Edna St. Vincent Millay, who writes these like glorious like love poems, but also writes about getting drunk and fucking. So
I want to buy her. What's her name?
Edna St. Vincent Millay.
Yeah, I like her.
Yeah, me too.
She's my kind of girl.
Me too. Who else? Who would be really fun? I mean, these are all. I think I've got it. I think I'm good so far.
Yeah.
I would invite. I'm looking at all my bookshelves now and thinking like, who's a good mix now?
Yes. Please down talk to.
Oh, you know who I would invite? Mona El-Tahawy. This is now like just feminist insane party.
Okay.
Fun. Mona El-Tahawy. Do you know anything about Mona El-Tahawy?
No.
She is an Egyptian. She lives in New York City, but she's an Egyptian like feminist theorist. She wrote a book called The 7 Necessary Sins for Women and Girls, which you would probably love. And basically it's all about like she begins every public speech by saying fuck the patriarchy, and she all of her work is about profanity and women and how like we have to take back language in order to move ourselves forward. And I think she is amazing and like she's one of these people who like I would just like to hang out with like in real life. And we follow each other on Twitter and I'm always a little bit like, oh, I wonder if I could, how do I get to meet her? So now she can come to my party with like all these other people. And then I feel like I need somebody, I feel like I need I feel like it should be somebody like Judith McNaught, like one of my favorite old romance novelists.
Okay. Like,
put her at the table too. And like, let's make some magic. That's fun. That's a lot of people. So what did we say? Annie Diamond, Bell Hooks, Mona El-Tahawy, Edna St. Vincent Millay, and Judith McNaught. And that is an impressive group. I'm coming to your party. Because I feel like we're just gonna be sitting there drinking and cussing and having a good time. So yeah. Me and Jen go sneak in. Allowed.
Oh my God, Sarah, this has been absolutely wonderful. We have one more question to ask you, but before we ask our last question, I just want to say again, thank you for coming on. We love you here at the Brown Book Series. And
thank you so much for having me, Shay.
I'm just so happy you said yes. This time
I'm so glad you're in Massachusetts now because I come up there. Well, when it's not a pandemic, I'm up there a few times a year because that's where I grew up. I mean, I grew up in Rhode Island, but I'm close, and my sister lives in Boston. And so the next time I'm there, I want to have a drink or something.
Definitely.
It'll be really fun.
Yes, girl. You just call me up, be like, girl, what? Come on, I'm picking you up. You come here. What we doing? I'm here. I'm telling you.
Nice.
Yeah. And then the house will be done too. So, oh my God, you got to come see it. It's gonna be hot.
I want to see it.
Oh God. So, Sarah, you know what? I didn't want to talk about the August book because you're gonna come back before then anyway. Before your new release come out, and then we're gonna, give you it's gonna be all dedicated to the new release because thank you. We're gonna make it real hot for you, real hot.
Thank you. Yay.
Okay, so before we ask our last question, tell everybody where they can go and get your latest novel, where they can get all your books, where they can follow you on social media, and then just let us know everything about Sarah.
Sure. So you can follow me out on Twitter at Sarah MacLean, on Instagram at Sarah MacLean. My website is sarahmaclean.net, and you can find book lists. I actually have a very big list of romance novels that I just adore myself on that website. So you can go there and click on recommended and find 200 great romance novels that I did not write, but I love a lot. And you can listen to the podcast Wednesdays, fatedmates.net.
That's what's up. I love it. All right, Sarah, last question in our interview.
Yes.
If you were writing a book about your life, what would the title be?
I think it would be called Kissing Books. I feel like when you start reading romance at 10 and then like you write romance novels for a job, Kissing Books is probably the appropriate title for your
Kissing Books
biography.
Is. You know what? I absolutely love it. All right, hold tight for me, Sarah. Ladies and gentlemen, Brown Book Series, Sarah MacLean.
Thank you so much, Shay, for having me.
Thank you. All right, hold tight for me. All right, Brown Bookers, that interview was awesome, and we have more to come. So if you like that interview, and I know you do, please hit the subscription button below, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and also hit the notification bell so you'll know when we talk to other authors, you know? So next week we have Miss Rochelle Ehlers. So that's make sure you come back next week, 6 o'clock. And you know how we do it. Every Wednesday night, 6 o'clock, you're right here at the Brown Book Series. 7 o'clock, Reese Ryan. You head over to Reese Ryan's channel at 7 o'clock. And at 8 o'clock, we have Iris Bolling has Iris Moments at Cruise Radio. Everything will be in the description box below. We'll also have in the description box your everything about Sarah MacLean and about her new her podcast. I'm getting so tongue-tied because I'm thinking about, Undeniable and us reading stuff. It's gonna be hot. Anyway, all of it be in this description box below. I'll holler at you guys on next week. Have a good one.
Open up your brown book, baby. It's for you, it's for us. The fantasies, no one can judge us, no one can judge us. This is for us. Open up your brown book, baby.